Hey crafty friends, it's Cheri and I'm back in the craft camper for another edition of Will It Crank? And the sun is shining, it's all bright in here. Woohoo! Alright guys, I haven't even looked at the yarn that we're going to use today, so let's just open it up. It is ice yarn, and I believe if this is the correct order, it is favorite yarn from ice. So let's get it open. Maybe we'll get it open. So it's kind of like an unboxing and a Will It Crank. So here we are. I ended up getting 2 of these. Oh, looky there. But it is the same kind of yarn. So I'm hoping that if we use one, it will do just the same as the other. And this is called Favorite Yarn by Ice. We're going to do the blue one. I think that's what we're going to try today to see if it'll crank. Oh, I like it. It's 100% acrylic. This is kind of heathered. So this is very similar to the yarn that I used last week, the Eddie Bauer. See, it's not as heathered, but it's a little bit. It kind of feels a little similar too. It feels a little similar. It's got a little bit more of an acrylic scratch to it, but not super stiff. Let's see, how much do we have on one of these skeins? I think it is 210 meters. Yeah, 100% acrylic, 210 meters. It is a 4 weight, 100 grams, and it is Ice Yarn Favorite is what it's called. The colorway on this one, or the color, is Favorite Blue Jean. So it's called Blue Jean, and there is the number if you were interested. Okay, guys, so let's get this Sentro 48 down, and let's get into it and see how it does. Stay tuned. Okay, got my machine all clamped down and ready to go. So let's get this cast on and see how it cranks out. Okay, are you ready for the verdict? Here it is. It's very similar to the Eddie Bauer, was it Cozy Camp that I did last week for the Will It Crank? I would say, again, this is the Ice Yarn's Favorite. I want to talk about price. I ended up buying it because it was on sale, and I wanted to try another kind of solids yarn that's similar to Big Twist Value, which is what I use for like the stuffed animals. A lot of times I use the Big Twist Value for the stuffed animals, and I wanted to have some other options for the stuffed animals. I think it would work for stuffed animals, but this is the thing. It has a lot of memory, very reminiscent of similar to Big Twist in that, like, memory, what I mean is, like, if you put this on your head or you stretch it out, it's going to stay that way. Does that make sense? It doesn't bounce back. It's where, like, if you use a softer yarn, it doesn't have as much memory. I don't know if that's what that's called. That's what I call it. You, like, Heartland yarns aren't going to get as out of shape because they're softer. They don't have as much memory. I don't know. They just go back. They're more the more elasticity in the yarn isn't as stiff. So this is yeah, this is very similar to their Savor yarn as well, except for, I will say, the Savor yarn is a little thicker and the machines don't like it as well. This one did okay in the machine, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So price wise, it was on sale like $3.99 for 4 skeins, plus the shipping, right? So with the shipping, I ended up getting 8 skeins of yarn. It was like 20 some dollars. I think it ended up being like, if you figure I divide the shipping per how many skeins I get. So it ended up being like $3.24 a skein. So which is very, you know, like that's about how much I paid for the Eddie Bauer skein on sale when it was 40% off. So very similar pricing to what you get for sale yarn at like Joann's. So it's another option for doing like stuffed animals, because that's what or if you want a very, and I'll show you what it looks like on my head. If you want a very thick, warm hat, it's going to be really thick and warm, because that's just the, you know, that's the kind of yarn that it is. It's like very dense. Okay, so let's go ahead and rate it out. So for softness, it's not super soft, guys. It's very much like Red Heart or this other Eddie Bauer yarn. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2. I probably could give it a 3, but I'm gonna give it a 2 for softness. For like color, the color is just the color. I like this is somewhat heathered. It's somewhat heathered. It's not as heathered as, I keep comparing it to last week. It's not as heathered as like this Eddie Bauer, but you can't really tell. It looks just navy. Here, let me grab, this is the Savor yarn. So this is Ice Yarn Savor yarn. And this has a little bit more sheen to it than this. I don't know if you can tell. But this has a little bit of a heathered look to it. It's not just a solid. This is solid navy. This is that blue jean heathered. This is very thick as well. I had to weight this to get it through the machine. All right, for color, it's not as heathered as like the Eddie Bauer. Like I like this a little bit better. So I'm going to give it a 2 for color. So we have what? 2 for softness, 2 for color. Okay, for ease of crankability, I didn't have to weight it, but it was hard to crank it in my 48. Now, if I tried in my Z machine, it might go through it a little bit better. I'm going to give it a 2. So we're doing 2 across the board. So overall loveliness, let's just give it a 2. It's all 2s. I have, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will make hats for donation out of this yarn, but I probably will not, I don't know that well, it isn't my favorite. Even though it's favorite, it's not my favorite. So I probably won't order it again unless there's a specific color I need for a stuffed animal. I don't know that I'll use it for hats necessarily. Although it's a warm hat. If it's a cold area, you need some seriously warm hats, and I think it would hold up really well. And the fit is pretty good. I did 100, just to tell you, I did 140 rows, and you saw how it fit my head. So, yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this is helpful. This, again, was Ice Yarn's favorite, the blue jean color. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to help if I can. Thanks again. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Stay cranky.